Hi, and welcome to Designing with Casual Elegance. Today we have a very special show. I am your host, Susan Sage, and I have with me Mel Marable, and she refinishes and paints furniture. I am really curious. I want to know how long you've been doing this and what inspired you to begin.
Well, I've been doing this for probably about 6 years, off and on, and really a lot more in the last 4 to 5 years. My dad, he actually is a master craftsman, and he has really been a big inspiration to me. And I started out sitting with him on his drafting table, and from there being in his workshop and smelling sawdust from a very young age, and
You fell in love?
I fell in love, and been around it all my life. So my brother has done woodwork with him, and now my son, he is doing woodwork and stuff, and this is my hobby.
Yes,
So,
and you do a great job.
well, thank you very much.
Was there a specific piece that inspired you to jump in and start the refinishing or painting?
Well, I think, years ago when I was a single mom and needing furniture and stuff like that, coming from somebody who had such high quality of everything solid wood, and you couldn't find everything or afford it because it was particle board, I went to stuff that was like this, beautiful solid wood, but was not in the best of shape. So then I would go and transform it and do what I could. And lo and behold, it just kept on going. And I took a few years off and on, and my hands have just always had that nature to always want to
Itchy fingers.
be doing something. So, it just kept growing as I had bigger and bigger places to be. So it's just in my nature.
Good. So your dad was a master craftsman, and wasn't there a piece that you had with like a raw edge?
Yes. So
That I think we have a before and after.
correct. So I was lucky enough. I got a piece, not the best looking piece. Drawers were falling apart and everything. The top was actually a laminate top, and so I got to go out to his place, and he has some acreage and his own sawmill, and we created a cherry raw edge top for it.
Wow.
So not only did this piece that was falling all apart get everything new, the owner of it now, which is a little girl, this is her little piece for her little bedroom, now has a beautiful cherry edge dresser.
Very nice. That is great. And I think we have a few some are after pictures.
Yes.
I'm going to call one the bar.
Yes.
It's not actually a bar.
This was a fun piece. I like to find things that are kind of going into the trash because I like to save things. So we see these big, huge wire wheels all the time. And I made a fantastic table, I have to say. This is one of the big, huge wheels. The bar stack there was actually a laundry stand, and we added the smaller wheels into it and made a bar.
Very cool. That's, it's always fun to see before and afters. Now, you talked about repairs or things being damaged. So how did you learn all about repairing?
Well,
Like if a veneer's coming loose or something?
911 Dad.
Perfect.
Honestly, if you have Dad and you have Google and you have trial and error. So those are the things I've done, and I have believe me, done many of the wrong things by not wanting to do one of the two in the front. But with the veneer and everything, that is always a trial with some of the older stuff, because the older stuff, the veneer, even though it's a veneer, it's not the veneer they use today. That veneer, as you know, is actually very good.
Yes,
Very good veneer, because it is actually a more solid wood.
Yeah.
And then even if you do pull that veneer up, the wood underneath that is actually beautiful wood. So, for instance, and I believe it's on this piece,
on the
for
side.
instance, if you were to repair this veneer here, there is a small piece here, and instead of trying to patch this whole piece, because that would be hard to do, you would really want to put glue up underneath here, and I would do that with a syringe and glue. And then I would run tape on either side, and then either you can use a stainable, paintable wood filler like this that has a little grit to it, or you can use Bondo and mix up the Bondo, and because you have the tape on the side, you don't have anything going off. So then it's so much cleaner and it's so much smoother to finish that off.
Well, I tried using Bondo once.
You have to work fast.
Very fast.
Very fast.
I don't even try anymore. It's like, I'll find another way. You know, and I love this little piece. I think we had another buffet or a china cabinet.
Yes, a china hutch top.
Yes.
So this was a piece that was given to me, as some pieces are, and it was just the top. And so I was able to transform this by request of a friend. They needed legs, and we picked out a few different options, and these were the type of ladder legs they wanted, and added wallpaper. And this was a beautiful piece. It had lead glass doors and all glass shelvings, and it turned out fantastic.
Does it have lighting inside?
Well, it did have lighting. They wanted the lighting removed.
Okay.
But I did leave one area so they could, in long term, instead of having 3 lights, they still had room for 1 if they wanted to.
Yeah, it's whenever you have glass shelves, usually there's lighting.
Yes.
Which is why I asked.
Well, because it was lower, the lighting, you had the big pucks on top.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I removed those and put new top there. But on the curve, I still left an area where it could run in from the top, and they could always still attach something.
Okay, good. Well, I know you brought this little piece, well, you've got 2 of them that are on your list to be done.
Yes.
But I know there's also a process or a proper procedure, steps that you follow when you are going to redo a piece. So let's talk about this, what the process is, and then I'll talk a little bit about the piece itself.
Okay, great. So there are 7 steps of a process to go through, and you'll want to do a good deep clean on it. You'll want to fix any damages, and then take your time and sand, and then prime your piece, and then paint it and or stain it, and then also do a top coat on your product.
And you don't want to skip any steps.
You don't want to skip any steps. Now, depending on your products you use, you may or may not have to do a primer. But that is, again, depending on the products you use.
Okay. And this fabulous little piece, I say, is a 18th century from France. You can tell by this beautiful carving that you see on here, you know, and down the sides. And of course the cabriole leg,
Yes.
which is typical of French-inspired furniture. But I think this actually came from overseas. The other thing is it's solid wood.
Yes.
And when you have something like this, I don't know, you can tell the difference between a production piece and a hand-carved piece.
Absolutely.
You know, it's one of the things I've found over time. And I think you told me a little story about this piece, what you thought about it or how it might have been used.
Well, a friend of mine, it was his great-grandmother's, and so he had that given to him. You know, it was his grandmother's and then his mom's, and he's had it in storage for a number of years. So he had given it to me to refinish the best I can. And I told him that it would come back to him, but he said I could decide how I want to handle it. But I do believe this is a gift that was his, and it needs to stay with his family. I just think an heirloom needs to go back to him.
Yeah. Then I think when you see certain pieces, you think of stories.
I do.
Can you share a little bit of that?
Yes. As I mentioned to you the other day, I love doing restorations because I'm always looking for a nook and cranny, hoping that there's going to be the hidden drawer in one of the cabinets, and so I could find that secret treasure, the love letter that's left. I just sit there and imagine this being beside, a lady's bed, and her husband, baby being off in the war somewhere, and she's getting the love letter, reading it, putting it back or something. And those are the things I think of and going, this was somebody's. This was the memories, the hands that touched this, the tears that could have been there. And those are the things that I think about, and I think that's the reason why I like to restore things, because I think of
An old soul.
Yes, yes,
Definitely. Yeah. Well, and I think that's beautiful. That's, to have that kind of a feeling or an inspiration when you see something. And then sometimes too, when you see a piece like this, do you see a finished product?
Not always.
Okay.
Sometimes I see it and I go, I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm scrolling, I go, ooh, I like that picture, in case I see something. I saw these and I'm like, ooh, I know I want to do this. I know I want to take these because I saw those in his storage cabinet for the last year and a half.
Gosh.
Did I know exactly what I wanted to do with them? No, I didn't. But I knew I could do something better than leaving them in storage. So there's many things like this piece here, the harp legs. I got this, had a broken harp, had to recreate the legs, and it sat in my garage for 8 months until I could decide exactly the colors.
Yeah.
So, things sometimes take time, sometimes they hit me, and sometimes I just find pieces and I just collect them until they just collide.
Well, and then the other thing, you don't always know where these pieces are going to end up, because I know you do sell a lot of pieces, and you also get commissioned to do pieces for people.
Yes, and that's what I love to do.
Yeah.
Because then I hear the story.
Oh, yeah. Well, gosh, that's a really good point. Never thought about that. But it's kind of, when you see something and you see it finished, it's kind of like the same thing when I was sewing growing up, and I would see these flat fabrics, but I could see it made up in a specific style dress.
Yeah.
And I kind of think it's kind of the same thing, and which is great. Our creative juices just kind of run.
Right.
So, okay, and we've got some different products. So you're going to start first by cleaning.
Yes.
What do you use for cleaner?
So there's multiple things you can use for cleaning. You can use like a TSP and things like that, a really good soft soap and water, warm water and a rag. I really, really prefer on a lot of my stuff, which I know I've spoke with you about, is using mineral spirits on a lot of my things. And I use this also after I've sanded my stuff, before I use my my sawdust rag to clean everything off too. But this really cleans deep. It really gets in there. It doesn't harm the wood. You don't do a whole lot, but you get in there and it cleans it. I use my air compressor really before I start, get all the cobwebs and nastiness off, and then use this, and this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I've heard your story about it.
Yeah. Well, when we took the carpet off our stairs, and underneath was raw wood. They weren't just beautiful wooden stairs. So we ripped it off, and it was just regular lumber.
Right.
And there was overspray on it. Well, I called you, come over, and I've done furniture pieces, but never did stairs. and these are going to get used and abused.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about what color stain would go on them, but more importantly, and I can't believe in all my years I've never heard this, using mineral spirits in between each sanding.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, those stairs are like satin. They were just not very pretty at all. We're still finishing up little trim pieces down the side.
Sure.
But they turned out beautiful. And then there's a table, they used it in the Bella Vista and Beyond show that my husband refinished and used the same technique.
Yep. And then you used a gel stain.
Yes.
And the gel stain is fantastic.
And the gel stain, we use this little,
Yes.
oh my gosh, instead of a brush, this is the best little tool that you could ever use when you're, I used it on the stain and then also on the top coat.
Yep.
Great little tool. And then you also told me about the general finishes, which
Fantastic.
after we take a little break, we will talk about.
Fantastic.
We'll see you in a couple minutes. Welcome back. We are joined here with Mel Marable. Sorry, I can never get that right. And we're talking about painting and refinishing furniture. So the next piece we're going to talk about is this one, which is not completely finished. You've obviously cleaned it, sanded, decided on this is your base coat.
Yes. So
Where do we go from here?
So from here, I will do another sand, and I have a few little dings that I need to, that have surfaced after putting painting on, which sometimes does happen.
Okay.
So you'll fix that, and then I'll likely do another little fix based on the paint. And then I will do a good clear coat and sand, because on furniture, especially tops, I like to have 2 coats.
Yeah.
And then do another light sand, and then it'll be ready to go.
Very nice. So, you're talking about sanding. Do you have a favorite sanding sponge or electric sander? What do you like to use?
So I have 3 different electric sanders because you have to start big.
Yes.
On some
Power
products,
tools.
you start big.
Yeah.
But then on a lot of stuff, I do have, I like these little hand gripper ones because they're soft. I do use a lot of sponges. And then I have my small ones to get into other little ones because nooks and crannies.
Yeah.
And then this one I've really liked, and it actually is super fine. It's polishing. So this is great to go in between your stains and between your surfaces because it's super, super soft. And you can use this wet or dry.
Oh, wow.
So this has been a really, really good one.
So this is another product that I had not heard of, haven't used before.
Now you will.
So,
This will be in Susan's little goodie bag.
along with general finishes.
Yes.
Had not heard of that, but oh my gosh, I am in love with that stain and top coat.
Yes.
It is so easy to use, such easy cleanup.
Yes.
And like I said, you get a satin finish.
Yes.
It's incredible. And you don't just find it in a paint store.
No.
You
can't.
Locally, it's at Homestead, the resale store,
Yep.
antique store.
And then now you can order it on Amazon. A lot of times it's not the 2-day delivery. And it's not all the colors. It's a lot of limited colors.
Yeah, so just get in your car and go down
Yes.
and pick up the product, get home and start
fun.
playing with it. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely, have lots of fun. So we have some samples of the gel stain, and then also paints.
Yes.
That's one thing that I kind of struggle with when it comes to painting a piece of furniture. What is the best to use, or what do you like to use, I'll say?
So I've used a number of different paints from the recommended furniture paint that Lowe's sells. Did not like that, my apologies, to using a lot of different of the, I love chalk paint.
Okay.
To me, that's easier. A lot of that is done by less sanding, less prep work, and everything like that. And as you can tell, I've used, this is just a recap of a few that I've used. This here, this Country Chick, is the one that I used for this blue here. And I really like how it went on. It's a very good thick paint, and it's very true to the color of the bottle. And you use very, very little. Like, I think out of this jug, there's like this much that came out of it.
For that big piece?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
This yellow, this at home, is the one that we used on the yellow table, the little yellow dresser for the little girl that you saw earlier. And I sprayed that one. And that was really, it came out nice. You add some water to it. And I used my sprayer, and it was really good. So
Nice.
this was a really pretty butter yellow.
Oh, it looks like it.
One of my favorites is Dixie Belle. And I've used this one the most, and I have the most Dixie Belle in my stash. The good thing about Dixie Belle that I've learned, and I'm sure all of them have, is you can go on their website, and if there's a paint color you like, you can from another area, you can match it, and they will tell you based on their paints what percent out of each jar you would need to match that color.
Oh my goodness, so you could mix your own using the colors that they recommend.
Yes, so like the hutch, that green hutch, the client picked out that color that bought that, but Dixie Belle didn't have that color.
Okay.
But she picked it from another chalk paint, but it wasn't, or another vendor, but it wasn't chalk. So I went to Dixie Belle, we matched it.
Wow. So just kind of like cooking measurements.
Yes. Yes.
We know all about that. Very nice. And then I see you've got a Rust-Oleum chalk paint.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of people like, I forget, Annie Sloan. Have you used it?
I've not. I have a friend that's used it, loves it.
Okay.
I just haven't done that one. I'm tempted to try that one.
Okay.
Rust-Oleum, I did not get this one at Lowe's. They do sell it. I have used the Rust-Oleum at Lowe's, and I've done 2 colors from there, and I've had one great turnout and one not so great turn. But this one is this fantastic color.
Well, that green is beautiful.
Is that
and I
not
think we have
gorgeous?
a before of this, which this is amazing. When you go,
I like some before and after sometimes, right? This piece.
So what all did you have to do to this piece?
So really, the body of it, you wouldn't know from the before, was in great shape. So the caning on the before was plastic. That was actually 2 pieces that came off. But I love caning, right?
I do
it's
too.
So I actually went and bought real caning and put real caning on. I bought new trim and mitered all of that and put it on. And then the top that it did have, that veneer, I tried to save it, but it was just too burned through, and you could just tell it was just, there was no saving that. Even if I tried to use the gel stain that you can get a real deep, rich look through, it was not. So I bought new wood that had a beautiful layout on it, and then I added a trim piece here just so there was no, because it set in, you wanted a really nice look. So I think it just kind of updated it, plus it tied the 2 trims in. The hardware was one of the actual pieces that was on it. The other one was missing, but I cleaned it, and it turned this beautiful copper color versus the black that it was.
Isn't that funny how sometimes you never know how hardware is going to turn out?
You have to clean the stuff.
You do.
Who would know?
And I know some people just paint it. Well, it will wear off over time.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to replace it, then you need to
salvage
know how to salvage it, clean it properly.
I have gallon-sized bags that people have given me old hardware. I'm like,
oh my
let me have
gosh.
it. You never know. You just need one piece.
Yeah. Wow. We have some other pieces here that you have finished, like this beautiful coffee table. And I know you talked a little bit about the legs, but were they like a black wrought iron or bronze or?
They were a wood, but 2 of them were broken. One was actually totally missing an entire turn piece. So we had to actually, my son and I, we built that and had to cut that all out. It just meant I got to buy new tools.
Usually you hear that from a man.
Oh, no.
But, it's like there are many women. I know White Cottage Company on YouTube. She is amazing with power tools.
No, my
Me,
Mother's
not so
Day
much.
present was the big drum sander with all the attachments, so I could get the small thing, so I could get the nice little turn. I could just hold it and turn it. It's fantastic.
Wow.
So, and then the top was super, super dark, almost as dark as the little nightstands we
French,
had. And that took a lot of actual scraping and sanding to get that down. And it is a gorgeous star effect up there.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Just kind of that parquet look, and what you see in the grain and how it's come out.
I know.
And I wouldn't cover that top, but when I saw that, I thought, you could upholster that top and make it an ottoman, and then you'd have these great legs. So that's my designer side coming out.
But you could always build a frame slipcover that could slip over the top of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And you could have 2 looks.
Maybe you could.
Well, we could work together and just sell it together.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. And then we have this other table, and again, the cabriolet. I don't think this is from France, but this top is absolutely stunning.
Well, I found that piece. I can't say the piece. I fell in love with the legs. I am a leg girl. Let me tell you, I search for things that just say legs. And these legs stood out, and the top was waterlogged.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, they moved. The people moved here, and it got waterlogged in the moving vehicle. The door got left open.
Oh my gosh.
So the original top was totally warped and almost like a bowl effect.
Oh my goodness.
And it wasn't even attached on like 2 of the sides. So the guy gave me a great deal, and my son took it. There's like 22 pieces of wood going around here on the table, because every little thing's a different wood, and then also on the inside. So it sets in like a cavity all the way around.
Oh wow.
So he took the original piece, took everything apart, measured everything, and then we went and at Lowe's, and we went through all the large pieces to find the one that we liked the best, and he picked out this one that had this beautiful line going through it for the main top piece. And then so he built the top to go along, and now we have this beautiful piece.
It is wonderful. Just that little barbed wire look, I think is what you called it. And then the other things that we have here, painter's light, which
need excellent
have
lighting.
to have a light, and other little things we have displayed. We are coming to an end here, so I'm going to say thank you. But I do have a couple of announcements. On April 21st, the Bella Vista Farmers Market opens up, and we will have a booth there, so please stop by and say hi. And on April 25th, the Senior Expo will be at St. Bernard's Church from 9 to 1. And again, stop in and say hi. If you like this, please subscribe and support us. And I want to give a big special thank you to Mel for coming in and sharing her expertise and bringing these beautiful pieces. And like I said, some are for sale.
Absolutely.
So anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.
Thank you.